Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to be jumping in to the new Wet n Wild Bretman Rock Jungle Rock collection. I picked up most of the collection and we're going to be playing around with all of it on camera, demoing it, trying it out, talking about price point and if it works and if we like it. And one of the products took a little bit of finessing to make it work, but you guys will see all of that in today's video. So if that's something you're into, make sure to keep on watching, and please don't forget to subscribe. I do upload 3+ times a week, and that's gonna be the best way to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting. So if you wanna see all of the juicy details behind the Bretman Rock Wet n Wild Jungle Rock collection, stay tuned. And I'm gonna pull you in because the first item in the collection we're gonna talk about is going to be the Jungle Rock eyeshadow palette. I'm actually really excited to play with this just because the colors are so vibrant. So it is a 15 shade palette, a little bit of neutrals, a little bit of pops of color. You kind of get everything. And I honestly have no idea what I want to do today. So I don't want to do pink or purple because the last like 3 looks I did were all pink and purple. So I'm going to pull you guys in first and then we'll jump in. I have no idea how the fallout situation is going to be. So I'm going to throw a little bit of powder on the under eye, just to be safe. All right, under eyes are protected, so let's jump into the palette. I'm gonna start with the Bone Shade Coconut Connoisseur. I'm gonna grab a fluffy brush, and I'm gonna start and really just add a bit of that under the brow bone. It's gonna be our matte brow bone highlight. There really isn't a transition tone in here. There's really just a black with some sparkles, a brown, and then all of the pops of color. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take Ape Shit, the brown, and I'm gonna take a very small amount of it and add a little bit into the crease. Where's my mirror? So there's definitely pigment. It's definitely blending nicely, especially for an affordable formula. I love how it went where I put it. Like, it didn't kind of fluff around a lot. Like, I still have a very clear crease, which I'm actually gonna smoke a little bit, but you get what I mean. So far, 0 complaints. I'm gonna take a tiny bit more of the Coconut Connoisseur shade, and I'm actually just going to blend the top of that color. Again, since there is no like transition shade, I'm going to use that white to kind of soften the brown on the upper part of the lid, just so it's a little bit more well blended, because again, we don't have that transition shade and we went right into something a little darker than I normally like to go in for the first shade. All right, I'm going to take the green Venomous, and I'm going to take a little more than I wanted, but I'm going to take that on a packer brush, and I'm gonna probably about half of the outer portion of the lid. So I'm gonna start by tracing the crease a little bit and then pulling that shade in. I am getting a little bit of fallout from this shade, but I am also picking up quite a bit of product. So that could be user error. But it's a very pretty green. Going back into that first brush with no additional product, I'm just gonna kind of blend around the green, trying not to like dip into the green at all. I really just wanna soften the edges. That's a really pretty color. All right, what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take Anaconda, which is like a minty green. I did swirl this in my color switch, but I'm gonna take just a little bit of that mint and really just blend down the center of the lid. I just want to kind of soften the edge of that green a little bit more. I'm going to go into Prowl, which is the gold shade. I am going to grab, also from the collection, the Jungle Rock 3-in-1 Face Mist, which is nice and shiny. So this is going to prep, set, and refresh. It does have shimmer to it, so this is really going to amp up the glow. So I'm going to load my brush up on the eyeshadow. Quick spritz. Right, I can tell you right now, first off, it's beautiful. Second off, this is definitely going to be a shade that works better on a finger. Unfortunately, with the claws, I don't typically use my finger for eyeshadow anymore just because I can't get into like all the crevices of my eye. But this is stunning. And the way that gold blends into the mint, which blends into the green, it's just really pretty. I love that. All right, I'm gonna do that on this eye, throw on a little mascara and clean up the fallout, and then I'll be back to tie up the lower lash. I will probably also throw a liner in the waterline, and I'll see you guys in a second. All right, under eyes are cleaned up. I threw on a little mascara, and I'm liking how soft it is, so I'm not throwing a lash on. I did take a little brown liner into the waterline as well, and I'm going to grab, be nice if I can find the brush, there it is, it's kind of like a dense mini packer brush, and I'm going to take that same shade, Ape Shit, tiny bit of that, and I'm just going to lightly smoke out the waterline. Using the brush we used for the green, I'm going to take a tiny bit more green, and I'm just going to connect the outermost portion of the lower lash with where the green starts on the lid, just so that everything blends into each other and you kind of get that round shape around the eye. And then with whatever's left on the brush, I'm just going to blend around the brown. Going into a small detail brush and back into the gold yet again, I'm actually going to wrap the gold around the inner corner and then take it just into the lower lash. All right, eyes are done. I'm gonna pull you back out and we'll go into the next 3 products in the collection. Now that I've pulled out, I am noticing I want a little more green. So I'm gonna go into that mint again. And taking just a little bit of that, I'm really just gonna trace the crease and almost build this green into the transition, just so you get a little bit more of that framed green color. All right, next item in the collection. This is going to be the setting spray. We did already talk about this when I used it to foil the shadow. It smells really nice. So I'm gonna add some glow to the skin. So it definitely set everything down, and it did add this really pretty sheen to the skin. Definitely has some shimmer particles in there, like you can very clearly see those particles moving around. I like the way it added a natural glow, which naturally means we're gonna throw on a whole lot of highlighter to amp it up a lot more. So the highlighter in the collection is actually 2 colors in one. One of my favorite loose highlighters ever. It is the Wet n Wild Crystal Goth collection. It's called Moonbeam, and I love that. I don't use it a lot on camera because it was limited edition. But this is actually 2 colors side by side in one. You've got a gold and you've got a bronze. I think the bronze might be a little bit deep for my complexion. I will swatch it, but for today, I'm gonna be using the gold shade. So I'm gonna grab my highlighter brush. That's really pretty. So you can get a very soft effect out of it, or you can build it up and go full on blinding. Whatever is more your vibe. That's actually a little bit more even than I planned on putting on. So the one thing I will say is that this diffuser does almost add a little bit of a complication with adding the product on, but we're gonna take our blush brush and a little bit of our blush from today and just soften that a little bit. Okay, so right off the bat, I will say that this highlighter is very intense. So you wanna either sprinkle it into, well, not the cap because there's 2 colors, but sprinkle it into something so you can really be very delicate with how much you take, because I definitely took a lot more. But that being said, it did blend out nicely, so I don't dislike it. I don't know, the shape of the initial in there, because it is a B, it just made it a little harder. So I would have to, like, I don't know, shake some out. I'm gonna have to play around with that to figure out the best way to apply it. But I am gonna take a touch more setting spray just to take down the powderiness of the highlighter. And I'm gonna just press that in with a sponge. Yeah, and you see how that kind of melted it into the cheek so it's a lot less intense? Definitely a good idea. And the last item that I got out of the collection is going to be the lip gloss. I only got one shade. It is the shade Fearless. Because I have so many glosses, I didn't want another pink, I didn't want the like super frosty one, so I went with the more neutrally tone. I did line my lips just so that the gloss has something to pop off of. So let's try it out. The gloss smells and tastes like fruit punch. It is definitely not sticky at all, and I'm loving the color. It definitely has more of that like neutrally tone in it. What I will say, I paired it with a liner, so it is a little bit more opaque, but I feel like this would be really pretty on its own as well. And a lot of liner formulas, or not liner formulas, I'm sorry, a lot of gloss formulas will actually like pick up the lip liner and ruin your applicator. My lip liner did not come up on here. My applicator is still perfectly clean. I mean, other than the gloss that's on it. So that is also a plus of the formula. Okay, so a couple notes on the products. So the eyeshadow palette retails for $14.99, the lip gloss is $4.99, the highlighter is $7.99, and so is the setting spray. In addition to this, there's a mascara in the collection and 3 brushes. Unfortunately, when I ordered these on Ulta, the mascara and the brushes were not on there, so these were the only items in the collection I picked up. However, it all kind of came together, and I really love the way that it worked. The eyeshadow, especially for a $15 palette, like I think you can get a lot of really good pops of color out of here. I definitely think if you're into neutrals, like you can use the bone and the brown like I did and then pair one of your more neutral pops to it. But this is definitely more for that person looking, I mean, it's the Jungle Rock collection from Bretman Rock. Like you can look at the packaging and it'll tell you this is not going to be for neutrals. That being said, what is your vibe? Do you think you're going to pick up this collection? Are there anything in here that's standing out to you? Because right now I'm actually loving all of it. The highlighter took a little bit of work to really get to where I was happy with it. But other than that, the other 3 products are really quite good. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, as always, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.